Today I want to talk to you about the power of self-talk and how it relates to stress. Self-talk can sometimes be misunderstood, especially when we talk about positive self-talk. Let's start with a basic definition. Self-talk can be seen as an internal dialogue, whether it's thoughts or actual spoken words. It's that dialogue that you have by yourself, for yourself, often about yourself. This is something that everybody does. It happens throughout the entire day, and it can be positive or negative in nature. Of course, it could be neutral as well. What's important in this particular episode is the power of positive self-talk as it relates to better stress management. Positive self-talk can be a powerful tool in managing one's stress. So once again, to better understand self-talk, this is something that encompasses all communications within the self, all internal communications, which can be verbal and nonverbal, again, thoughts or words. It's important to pay attention to what your self-talk looks like. Is it mostly neutral, mostly positive, mostly negative, or a good combination of all of the above? When it comes to effective stress management, we want to focus on as much positive self-talk as possible. This is not about being fake or pretending. This is about paying attention to that internal dialogue, because so often when we ignore something or we don't give enough attention to it, it can truly get away from us and become negative and harmful without us even realizing it. That's why it's so important to pay attention to your self-talk, to that internal dialogue. Just as positive self-talk can be a tremendously valuable tool for stress management, negative self-talk can be absolutely detrimental to your well-being, and it can increase the stress in your life. Scientists have been studying self-talk for many years, and brain imaging actually reveals changes in our brain that are related to self-talk. Good, bad, or neutral, self-talk affects your brain. It activates specific neural circuits. And if the same type of self-talk is repeated over and over again, be that positive, negative, or neutral self-talk, it strengthens those neural connections. That in itself affects and influences everything from our thoughts to our behaviors, which makes self-talk a lot more important than you may have realized. That inner dialogue is very important to our experience today and into the future. All of that makes it so much more important to pay attention to than you may have realized. If you were to take a moment and start paying attention to your internal dialogue, to that self-talk, just for the day, what would you find? I suggest that you engage in that exercise. Get a pen and a notebook and start writing down what your internal dialogue sounds like. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? If you want to take it a step further, make note of how it makes you feel. How does the specific type of internal dialogue make you feel as a result? When you are engaging in positive self-talk, how does it feel as opposed to when you are engaging in negative self-talk? What does neutral self-talk do to you, if anything? Those are important to note because that helps you to understand what's going on with you internally and that internal dialogue of yours. You may be wondering, what is the difference between, say, positive self-talk, negative self-talk, or neutral self-talk? Well, just as the name implies, just as the label implies, positive self-talk would be something positive. If you were to say something encouraging or positive to someone else, that would be positive advice or positive supportive talk towards them. It's the same thing with self-talk. If you are thinking or saying things that are positive and supportive, things that are kind and gentle, then you can consider that to be positive self-talk. But if instead you are saying things that are judgmental and harsh and negative in nature, maybe you're scolding yourself or calling yourself names or resolving that you'll never succeed, those types of things can be seen as a negative dialogue. And of course, there can be a neutral dialogue going on within you. Usually that's pretty benign in terms of what effect it may have on you. So what's the takeaway here? We know that self-talk is important, that it plays a role in stress management. We know that positive self-talk is good for us, whereas negative self-talk can be detrimental and harmful. So what do we need to do? Once you have established what goes on inside of you as far as that internal dialogue, now it's the time to make some changes. If your internal dialogue is mostly negative, it's time to make some changes and make that dialogue serve you, make it into a positive one. If you already engage in positive self-talk, make sure you're keeping it going. Make sure you're keeping up with it and not sliding in the opposite direction. Focus on how you could change negative self-talk or negative internal dialogue into something that's more positive. And maybe that seems like too much at first. So why not move away from negative self-talk into something that's more neutral? And then from there, you can take the next step into something that's more positive. One way of helping to reframe that negative self-talk or that negative self-dialogue would be to look for things that are good, things that are opportunities, things that are lessons that could be learned. So rather than focusing on failure or how you couldn't achieve something, focus on how much closer you are to your success. Focus on the experience you've gained as a result. Focus on being able to learn from the situation. And again, this isn't about being fake. This isn't about that fake positive. This is about paying attention to that internal dialogue, because the world can be harsh enough. Life can be hard enough. There is absolutely no reason why anyone should allow negative self-talk to beat you down even further than life can already sometimes do. So reframing is one of the techniques that is often suggested when we look at self-talk and that internal dialogue, looking for a lesson, looking for an opportunity, looking for something good, looking for gained experience that we can use to propel us forward towards something more positive, towards success. Another thing that you can engage in is finding some positive mantras that maybe you can repeat throughout the day. It could be something as simple as, I am capable, I am strong, I am intelligent. Something that resonates with you, something that works for you. It doesn't have to be the same thing for the rest of your life. You can change it as you need to. You can change it from situation to situation, but something that is positive. And for those of you who are struggling with this, because I know for some of you this may be a little bit of a struggle, think of it as an exercise in how you might talk to another person. How would you talk to a dear friend of yours? How would you talk to a loved one if you were trying to be supportive, if you were trying to be positive? But remember, genuine. This is something that needs to be genuine. How would you be genuine and supportive of your friend, of your loved one, of your child, of your partner, whatever the case may be? And then apply the same to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. work on ways of supporting and uplifting yourself in genuine, positive, loving ways. So if you're struggling applying these ideas to yourself, practice as if you were intending it for a loved one, for a dear friend, for someone you truly care about. So remember, positive self-talk can be a tremendously valuable tool for your stress management toolbox. Take a look at your own internal dialogue and make an assessment of if and where some improvements could be applied. From there, keep going so that it doesn't get away from you, so that it doesn't slip backwards. Life can be stressful, but there are many ways of addressing stress in ways that benefit you. So why not try self-talk, specifically positive self-talk, as one more tool in your stress management toolbox. If you'd like to learn more about a comprehensive approach to stress management, check out the links below.